there, I'm Kim. Welcome to my craft room. Today I am making some covers for regular old candy boxes, hoping to make them look like cute little vintage Valentine's candy boxes. I think they would make really good gifts or look really cute as a shelf sitter on a hutch or a tiered tray or something like that. At the end of this video, I'll give you a little peek at my vintage Valentine's collection, as well as show you a little bit about how I built these covers. But first, let's go ahead and make some of these box covers. The first thing you need to do is to print out the PDF file for the box covers. There's a link to this file in the description box below. You can use regular copy paper to print these out on or cardstock. I prefer the cardstock because it is more opaque and a little more durable, but either will work just fine. There are 4 covers to choose from in the PDF file, and each is a different size. I purchased candy at my local big box store and tried to get a variety of sizes that I thought would be easy to find. I'll put the approximate dimensions for each of those boxes in the description box below. If you're going to put a window on your box, you might want to pick up some red and white candies to fill your box with. I traded out some perfectly good M&Ms for some gumdrops just so that it would look nice. Totally optional though. And again, on that window, if you do want to make one on your box, you'll need some clear cellophane. Make sure it's food safe or another type of food safe plastic. Then you'll need some scissors, a permanent marker. You'll need something to cut with, like a box cutter. You'll also need some non-toxic glue and then some tape. All right, let's start cutting. So really nothing tricky here, just cut around the outside of the box cover shape, and don't worry about being particularly precise. It is more likely than not you'll need to trim the box tabs down at the very end. If you're having problems with the box cover being too small instead of too big, check your printer setting when you're printing and make sure that you are choosing print to the exact size as opposed to shrink to the printable area. After the outside part is cut away, you'll need to make little cuts in between the box sides or the box tabs. You should be able to see the white areas on the printout, and that's where you make your cut. On the inside tabs, on the tabs that aren't going to show when all of the box sides are folded down, I'll sometimes cut these out at a little angle just so that I have fewer layers of paper in my finished project. Once all the cutting out is done, we can start folding. Because each box I've tried to cover seems to be just slightly different in size, I start by folding the front top fold of the box cover. That way I know that the front of the cover, like the cutest part of the cover, is going to be placed the most accurately. Now that I have that crease in place, I'll put my box in the cover, kind of like how I want it, and then I will fold the sides of the box cover over the box, just lightly making creases at each of the 3 corners. Then I remove the box and then make some sharper folds along those crease lines. Now that we've done that, we're ready to cut the window out of both the box and the box cutter. But I should say you could definitely skip that part altogether. I think the box still looks cute without the whole window bit. So if I'm doing the window, the first thing I do is cut out the window on the box cover using like an X-Acto type tool or a box cutter. I definitely try to cut inside the graphics. If you leave some of that white showing, you don't have to be as accurate for it to look good when you're finished. Now we can use the window we just cut to help us mark the cutting line on the candy box. To do this, center the cover over the candy box. When it's in just the right place, use that permanent marker to draw a line just inside the window, being careful not to mark the candy cover. For now, we're just going to set aside the box and we'll get to cutting that out later. First, we're going to glue the cellophane onto the back side of the box cover. So use that opening to help you cut out a piece of cellophane. You want quite a bit of it to overlap the opening, and then use as light a coat of glue as you can to trace around the opening of the window, I use my finger or a cotton swab to spread it out. You want plenty of glue so that the cellophane will stick, but if you get the box cover too wet, it's going to get wavy from the moisture. After you have the cellophane glued on there, we're going to set that aside and we will turn our attention back to our candy box. So now grab the box and the box cutter and use that tool to cut around the outside of that marked line. I generally shoot for about 1/4 of an inch away from the marked line. Carefully remove the cardboard and we should have a good sized window, big enough so that none of this new box shows when we put the cover over it. So this was the only candy I bought that actually had the candy in a bag. Unfortunately, the bag had a seam in it that showed through the window. So what I did is I just opened the box up and turned that bag around. So now we're just about done. We just need to put the cover on, and this is super simple. It's just like wrapping a gift. You can use tape or glue to affix the tabs down. I tend to use glue. Do you just want to say test everything first? You're probably going to need to trim some of the tabs down so that they don't stick over the box. But anyway, hard to go wrong here. Glue everything down and you are done. Now, I should also mention, if you do want to trade out your candy, here's how I did it. So just pour out the candy when you cut the window from the candy box, and of course you can eat the candy while you do the rest of the work. Then stuff the new candy in the box. You'll want to fill it really full so that the candy doesn't settle out of view of the window when you have it on display. Then, to keep the candy in the box and not falling out between the box and the box cover, I ended up gluing the front of the candy box cover to the front of the box. Now, I don't think that this makes a really durable cover. I definitely wouldn't send this through the mail or anything, but it will be good enough to look nice on my shelf. So here I am finishing up the last of the 4 boxes, and I cannot believe I didn't get a good shot of the backs of the boxes. I thought they were fairly cute as well. Anyway, it has been a lot of fun to make these. I use Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator to build these graphics. For a couple of the boxes, I used my printer to scan some of my vintage Valentines and made them into a JPEG file, which I could use Photoshop to edit them. I did things like removed the writing on the hearts, I removed the background, I did a few color corrections. Then I use Adobe Photoshop to take that PNG file and add it to kind of the background and the text that I build in Illustrator, and then I can save that as a PDF file. You know, I've been really lucky over the years to kind of amass this lovely collection of vintage Valentines. I think they are so adorable. I especially love the ones that still have the writing on the back. But I know these aren't available to everyone. So one of the things I did for this project is I also bought some downloadable graphics off of Etsy. There were loads to choose from, and I thought they were quite affordable. Well, that's all there is for this week. I sure appreciate you guys watching. I hope you are inspired to make some of your own boxes or try a different craft. And if you have found this content helpful in any way, please consider subscribing to my channel. That would really help me out. Until next week, you guys, happy crafting. Bye-bye.